Okay, friends, it is that time, a fresh, new freeze-dried meal review for this week. And this week, we're going to be jumping back over to Backpackers Pantry, and it's going to be Stroganoff sauce, mushrooms, and beef. Now, if this is your first sort of review like of this nature that you're going to be watching here, let me get you up to speed as far as what you can expect off of this here. Now, in a moment, I'm going to share with you details from the packaging, the nutritional side of it. Then we're going to crack this open. We're going to take a look at it dry, and then we're going to put everything back in, mix it up. I'll show you how it's made. Pretty straightforward. From there, we will cook it based upon the manufacturer's suggested means, and then ultimately, we're going to put it into the bowl. I'm going to start diving into it. We'll inspect the color, flavor, scent, all that other fun stuff. I'm going to share with you things I like, dislike. You may agree, you may not. Ultimately, though, the purpose behind these videos is if you decide you go to Amazon, for example, you type in freeze-dried meals, you're going to find there's a lot of different brands, a lot of different flavors out there. And while I'm under no false illusion that what I like, you're necessarily going to like. But if your taste buds are remotely in the same direction as my compass, it might be a good indicator that you may enjoy this, or it may be worth something for you to get onto Amazon or wherever you order these things from and give it a go yourself. But anyways, let's dive into Backpackers Pantry. Now, here's full disclosure here. So last year, I tried my first Backpackers Pantry, and honestly, I didn't care for it. Now, I'm come to believe that this had been an anomaly because 3 weeks ago, we tried their lasagna. Man, that was pretty stinking good. And it was a vegetarian lasagna even more so. So anyways, I'm excited about diving into this here because I really like beef stroganoff. And a couple factoids about Backpackers Pantry. So this is a family-owned company that's been around since 1951 out of Colorado. So they make these things right in the States here. And you guys know how I feel about American-based companies. When you buy a product like this, you're supporting jobs right here in the United States. So anyways, let's dive into this. Now, this is a single serving, and up on the top right-hand side, I know last episode we were talking about expiration date, so one of the first things I'm looking at here, this meal is good until June 27th, 1933, or 1933. Maybe I want to rethink that. So 2033. So this is good for quite a bit of time here. Now, this is a single serving meal here. So if you're a pig like me, you're probably going to want to grab another one of these things. Actually, when you hear one of the items here, maybe you might want to grab a chunk of celery for that second serving. But anyways, let's take a look at some of the nutritional facts on this here, and what I'll do is I'll put an image or a screenshot on the screen so you can see what I'm looking at here. So again, we're talking about a single serving here. Total fat, we have 9 grams, saturated fat 4.5 grams, trans fat 0 grams, cholesterol 45 milligrams, and here's the big kick in the you know what, the sodium 1200 milligrams.
Great Scott.
That's a beast. Now, again, this is a single serving. So if you were to sit down and eat 2 of these things, because that's a single serving, that's 52% of your recommended daily dose or values that you need of sodium. So eating 2 of these things, you're actually over what you should have from a sodium intake. Now, you may be asking, why is there so much sodium? Well, a lot of these manufacturers, the sodium is in there for really 2 things. Obviously, the flavor, and the other is preservation of itself there. So again, this thing's lasting to 2033. So the sodium is high, but if you're concerned about your sodium levels, or if you're out for a prolonged period of time, this is where you definitely got to be aware of the sodium levels in these meals and so forth. If you're out and about and you're relying on eating these meals over a long period of time, because that sodium it could be troublesome and so forth. So something to keep in mind. Total carbohydrates, 44 grams. Dietary fiber, 1 gram. Total sugars is 5 grams. Included added sugars, 0. And of course, getting down to protein, which is coming in at 21%. And then you have all the other goodies down below. And as always, I will put a screenshot on here of all the ingredients. So if you want to take a look at what they're putting into this here. Now, preparing this is, again, all these freeze-dried meals are relatively same. The moving variable is going to be the the amount of water that we're putting in, and then the time that you're letting this sit. But first is first, let's crack this open here, and let's take a look at what we're working with here. So, first smells, it reminds me, do they still make those small little chicken bouillon cubes that like this big or so? My mom used to use it when we were kids making soup and so forth. That's what this smells like. So anyways, that's what you're looking at here. So let's pour this out. Okay. All right, there's a little bit left over. I guess we don't need to fuss with that. All right, so one of the first things, and here's the oxygen absorber, so we'll talk about that. You want to, as you're preparing the meal, you want to remove that, and that's pretty standard in all these sort of meals. But, okay, so we're looking at little tiny chunks of the meat here. There's a lot of little beef chunks in there, but they're little tidbits there, and we see the ribbon noodle here, a lot of seasoning in here, and I saw some little green little bits there, which is going to add some nice color. I'm guessing that's either like a green onion or a chive. And we see little chunks of mushroom in there. So again, from a scent standpoint, it just smells like a big, gigantic chicken bouillon cube from back in the day, or in this case, probably beef, but for whatever reason, this beef is reminding me of chicken. And so, yeah, anyways, but that's what we're looking at right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to crack this back into our pouch here, because you want to cook it in the pouch. As I keep saying over and over again, you can likely cook it in a bowl, but you'll probably have to have more heat and keep the heat on longer. So I'm going to pour all the leftover good stuff in there. All right, so let me share with the instructions on this one right here. So we're going to remove and discard the oxygen absorber, which we've done already. We're going to add 1.25 cups of hot boiling water, which we have that prepared already. We're going to stir well, seal pouch, wait 8 minutes. Then we're going to crack this thing open, stir it again, and we're going to let it sit for an additional remaining 7 minutes. And then, friends, it's off the go time. It's Mao time. Mao time, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. So we're going to pour a little water in here. Let that start soaking up a little bit. I'm going to stir this around, start getting things. Oh, wow. Yeah, you know what's funny? A moment ago I said this smells like chicken. As soon as I added the water in there, this really smells like beef. This smells pretty good. Okay, we're going to pour the last bit of water in here. Then we're going to give this a good stir. Okay, we can see all of our little, actually more of those green bits kind of floating up and so forth. Now, you really want to make sure you get a good stir on this, because as soon as you take your first bite in there, you will find out very fast the importance of making sure that water gets to every little chunk in these things, because otherwise you start getting some crunchies and things that are not properly hydrated. But there we go. All right. Siri, set timer for 8 minutes. It is. All right, it is time. The first 8 minutes is done. Okay, that is smelling pretty good. I think the first visual on that, if I'm being honest here, didn't look appetizing. But as soon as I stirred that around, that looks darn good. That looks really good. Now that we got those noodles mixed up with that big pile of beef that was on the top there, that is looking pretty good. So now what we're going to do here, just going to give this a good stir, and then as the directions mentioned, we're going to give it a last 7 minutes, and then this meal is going to be ready to get off there. It's going to be ready to dive into. Seal that back up. Hey Siri, set timer for 7 minutes. Okay, it is time to crack this thing open. All right. And I can tell you one thing, cracking that open versus the first time this stirred up, it looks very good. I have to say, it smells pretty darn good as well. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's get this, and I'm sure I'm going to put what is it, Austin Powers, get in my belly, because this smells pretty darn. Yeah, this smells good. This is going to be if it's based upon the scent, it's going to be a darn good bite. All right. All right, here we go. So first impression. So this is, I think on one of the last videos I spoke about, one of the things I've noticed with a lot of these freeze-dried meals and so forth, once you hydrate them, they look like a big kind of mashup, like a big kind of chunk of, you fill in the blank there. This looks, now obviously we see some of the dry stuff here. That's just from before, but this looks, wow, properly hydrated. It looks nice and juicy. It looks like a nice blend between the little bits of beef there. When we were first looking at this, I think my voice was kind of criticizing the size of the beef in here, but boy, look at there's a well balance of beef in almost every little corner in this bowl here. Now again, this is only one serving, but boy, this looks really well balanced. We have the little chunks of mushroom there, beef. The noodles look fantastic, and I can tell you, obviously, what you can't pick up off the visual side of it. This smells really, really good. So let's not waste any more time. Let's crack into this. So definitely, I don't mean to bring it back up. You definitely taste that sodium in here. But one of the pleasant flavors there, the noodles are perfect from a hydration standpoint. And I want to talk about that beef again. There's a lot of, again, talking about how this was full of a bunch of little bits of beef. Boy, every chew, every bite there, you're feeling that beef that you're chomping into there. There's a lot of beef in this. The flavor has a really pleasant beefy, back note, if that makes sense. The cream is fantastic. You have hints of the onion and obviously a nice mushroom flavor with it. This is really, I just got a little crunch from an onion in there as well. This is really, really tasty. So, I really like this. The only bummer for me here is this is a single serving. So, sodium or not, my pig self would probably eat 2 of these things because this is darn right good. I really like the flavor. I like the texture. I really like everything with this. Putting aside, again, the high sodium. This is, as I've said many times in some of the previous videos, we have kind of 2 scoring systems here. One being, obviously, you can see a scorecard here momentarily, and the other is whether I would put something like this in my trailer for future trips. Absolutely, yes. I love the flavor, texture. I love everything with this. Now, the only thing that, as I shared earlier, that you have to keep in mind with a meal like this because of the high sodium, yeah, this would be something that you would eat in moderation just to keep that sodium level in check and so forth. But, wow. From a flavor standpoint, yeah, this is one of my, and I keep saying this, man, you know what? These manufacturers that are making these things make this difficult. Because I'm saying this is, wow, from a beef stroganoff standpoint, this is one of my favorites. I really like the flavor of this. So let's take a look at the scorecard for Backpackers Pantry beef. I was going to say beef stroganoff, but stroganoff sauce, mushrooms, and beef. Okay, friends, there you go. Well, as soon as these cameras go off, I'm going to wolf down the rest of this right here. But this has been another tasty review of another freeze-dried meal. Again, this has been the Backpackers Pantry Stroganoff Sauce, mushroom, and beef. Now, as always, what I will do is I'll put links down below if you want to give this one a go for yourself. I can tell you right now, based upon what I just went through, heck yeah, I would highly recommend giving this one at least a try, seeing what you think of it. But I will put links to other reviews that we've done down below as well if you want to take a look at those as well. And again, links directly over to Amazon where you can pick up this as well and try it for yourself. But friends, that is it for this review. So at this time, I'm going to be shutting off my cameras. You get out there, stay healthy, and find your adventure.